Hey y'all! Today's video is part Sly Fox tip and part recipe because I'm sharing how I make my potato salad. That's right y'all, no gatekeeping here. See, I wasn't able to find a recipe for potato salad that's close enough to mine to share like I normally do. I've also never done strict analysis on my recipe to get exact measurements. I'm one of those home cooks that does a little of this and a little of that until it just tastes right. So when my family was gathering recently, I decided to just video myself making my potato salad. Now, I'm not going to call it famous or infamous, but my family sure likes it. What you're going to see today is just a list of simple ingredients that I use and approximations on the screen as I make it. To follow along at home, you just approximate too and make changes according to what tastes right to you. So I have here a Lazy Susan that has all the ingredients that I use for my potato salad on it. Now, I don't try to church up my potato salad, so what you see here are just simple ingredients for classic Southern potato salad. First up are golden potatoes. I use gold potatoes because they have a natural buttery flavor. Also, you don't have to peel them. That peel can go right in with the rest of the potato salad and you don't even notice it. Then we have some eggs. I usually use 6 to 9 eggs depending on the size of them. These are medium-sized eggs, so I'm going to use 8 or 9 of them. If they were large or extra large, I'd only use 6. Then we've got dill pickle relish. And then Miracle Whip. Now I'm going to note here, you can definitely use mayonnaise in your potato salad. I like Miracle Whip because it's already a little bit salad dressing, meaning it's got some lemon juice in it and it's tangy. I like my potato salad tangy, so I like to just go ahead and go with the Miracle Whip. Celery for crunch. Then just plain old yellow mustard. Celery seed. Smoked paprika. And white vinegar. Do not be alarmed at the size of this jug of vinegar. I had just picked it up at the Costco and hadn't put it in a smaller container. Then just some simple salt and pepper. And that's it, folks. No wild ingredients here. I've seen potato salad lean into other flavors, and I think that's really cool. But this is the Southern classic my family loves. So here I'm going to put about 3/4 of these potatoes in the bottom of my large pot so that I can fill up the water and know that I have the right amount of water to cover them. You do not want your sauce pot too full of water or too low on water. Too full and the displacement of water will cause it to boil over. Too little water and the potatoes will just burn. The water should just cover over the top of the potatoes. Then we're going to place the pot on the stove to boil. I leave the potatoes in there while the water gets up to a boil because it really doesn't hurt the potatoes at all and it's just more convenient. Be sure to put a lid on your pot to help the water boil faster. Now I'm going to tell you up front that the potatoes are boiled, but when we put the potato salad together, they have to be cooled or cold. So if you can, it's best to just boil the potatoes the day before and pop them in the fridge overnight so they can fully cool. If not, then be ready to cool them quickly by covering them in ice for a little potato cold plunge or putting them in the freezer to cool quickly. So full disclosure, I did not start prepping this potato salad like I should have the night before, so I had to do some quick cooling myself in the freezer. Normally I'd do an ice bath, but I had company coming over and I needed to conserve that ice for cold drinks. Once it gets to a boil, you do need to prop the lid open on one side, as I show here. The reason is, as the potatoes boil, some of the starches start to come out, and those starches create bubbles, and that starch can boil over and turn into a big mess. So trust me, prop that lid open. Now we're just going to set a timer for 30 minutes and let those cook. After the 30-minute timer goes off, I'm just going to check to see if these potatoes are fork tender. These are good and done. Then we just dump out the boiling water and get all the potatoes into a colander in the sink. Now I sprayed them down with cold water to try to assist being able to touch them to put them into a bowl. Hot potatoes are hot. You'll even see here that even with the cold water, they were too hot to touch, so I used tongs. Now, since I needed these to cool down quickly because I was making a same-day potato salad, I did take the bowl and put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes. After that, I shifted them to the fridge until I was ready to use them. You can definitely do an ice bath. Again, I was just trying to conserve ice. With the potatoes chilling in the freezer, I'm now going to boil the eggs. In hindsight, I could have done these at the same time. I don't know why I didn't. Now with eggs, you do not want the eggs to be in the water in the pot as the water gets to a boil. Overcooked boiled eggs get that weird greenish gray ring in them and turn chalky. Yuck. So I'm showing here that I just put a bowl of eggs next to the saucepan to kind of gauge about how much water I'm going to need in the pot before I set it to boil. Once the water's boiling, I'm going to very gently place these eggs into the boiling water. I like to use a slotted spoon to do this to keep these eggs from cracking. So you can see I'm gently placing them in the pot, working my way through. And you can see with that egg right there, I'm pointing out it did crack a little bit. And that's going to happen no matter how gentle you're being. Sometimes there's just little imperfections in the shell and they crack open when they touch the hot water. Let me assure you, a little bit of that egg white seeping out in cooking is totally fine. But don't just drop them in there or you'll have yourself a mess, and most assuredly not hard-boiled eggs.
And I'm going to set the timer for 12 minutes. 12 minutes makes absolutely perfect hard-boiled eggs.
Now that the 12 minutes is up, I'm going to remove the eggs from the heat and drain those in my colander in the sink. You don't have to be gentle now because these are hard-boiled, so just dump them in there. Now, unlike the potatoes, the eggs do need to be cooled down very quickly. So you're going to see me run these under cold water to cool them down, hold them under there. Again, I would normally do an ice bath, but I was running low on ice and I was making this for company, so I needed to preserve ice. So after I got them cooled down enough to where I could handle them, I also put these in the freezer for a few minutes. After about a half an hour, the potatoes and eggs had sufficiently cooled. So I'm going to start pulling the salad together in a mixing bowl. This here is an example of about the size I chopped the potatoes, which is pretty chunky, and that's because I like the potato salad to be pretty chunky when it's done. As we pull the potato salad together, there's going to be stirring and mashing that makes those chunks get smaller because the potato's soft. So if you like a chunky potato salad, make your chunks bigger. If you like a smooth potato salad, make them smaller. With the potatoes all chopped up, now I'm going to chop up some celery. For this size potato salad, I'm going to use about 4 sticks. So you'll notice I cut them down the middle and then into really small pieces, kind of diced. It's because I like my potato salad to have tiny pieces of crunch, like little surprises, not big ones like a large, chunky, crunchy salad. If you want a larger, crunchy, chunky potato salad, you go right ahead. This is just the size I like. Okay. Now we're going to get started on the dressing and the seasonings. I'm just going to show a picture here of the amount of Miracle Whip that I used to start in the potato salad. Unfortunately, there was a bit of an incident with a dog right after I put the Miracle Whip in the bowl. He knocked over the camera, and I guess the video with the Miracle Whip getting poured in there was deleted because I can't find it. I think this is about a cup of the Miracle Whip to start with though. With all the craziness of the dogs, I had also forgotten to add the boiled eggs. So you're going to see me quickly chop those up here. Now I had already peeled these off camera, so take my word for it, I peeled the eggs. So you'll notice here I also cut the eggs into slightly larger chunks. That's because they're going to continue to mash as well because they're soft. And I want my potato salad to have chunks in it. If you want smooth potato salad with almost imperceptible egg, cut them into much smaller pieces. Okay, back to the dressing. Now I'm going to squeeze in some plain yellow mustard. Again, I don't measure this. I just kind of squeeze it in to cover probably, I don't know, a couple of tablespoons or so. And then I'm going to put in some dill pickle relish. Again, I just drop in a few spoons of that. I'm guessing from what I dropped in here, it's probably 1/3 cup to 1/2 cup. Then I'm going to add in that white vinegar. Now I do measure the vinegar because if you get too carried away, the vinegar can be completely overpowering and it makes your potato salad runny. So I'm going to start with just 2 tablespoons of that. Then we're going to do a preliminary mash. This is the mash before we add the dry seasonings. I like to initially use a potato masher so that the consistency of my potato salad is sort of a mixture of smooth and chunky. I don't use a potato masher the entire time, just at the beginning. After the masher, I will switch to a large spoon. Okay, so now I'm just gonna sprinkle in some pepper and then a couple of pinches of salt. And then I'll sprinkle that celery seed on as well. I'm showing it here on screen because it's surprisingly important that celery seed tastes slightly bitter. And a lot of people think they're not gonna like it, so they skip it. But it adds a little bite to the potato salad. When I used to make it without celery seed, it was obvious it was missing something, but I couldn't quite figure it out until I added in the celery seed. Now I'm going to do a little taste test now that I've got everything in the bowl. And what I noticed here is that it's a little dry and not as tangy as I would like. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a little more Miracle Whip and 2 tablespoons of vinegar. Now I'm going to give it another taste. And what I noticed here was I had been really light-handed with everything. I think it's because I was on camera. I was afraid I was going to use too much, but that's okay. When you make a recipe like this, you can always add more. So now I'm going to add a little more celery seed and a little more pickle relish and a little more mustard. And then mix it all together again. One final taste, and it's exactly how I want it. Now I'm just going to put it all in the serving dish that I have that has a lid for it. And that last little secret is that smoked paprika across the top. Now you're going to find a lot of potato salad recipes that just put regular paprika on it, mainly for color. It doesn't have a lot of flavor. Well, I like smoked paprika because most of the time potato salad is being served with barbecue or steaks, and that smoked aspect of the paprika just really pulls it all together. And that's it, y'all. Simple ingredients that can be adjusted completely to your taste. I recommend you always start with less of the dressing ingredients and the seasonings and work your way up to whatever tastes right for you and your family. But trust me, once you get your version dialed in with just the right mix, your friends and family will beg you to bring your delicious potato salad to every get-together. Thanks for stopping by my kitchen. See y'all next time.